had online reviews. It's just made people laugh.
Yeah, despite poorly trained staff, a rat problem, and the two owners being constantly at war.
Don't mention the war, Al.
Oh, yeah.
The English Riviera, destination of the discerning holidaymaker, and the setting of one of the best-loved British TV series of all time.
Ah, Mr. and Mrs. Tridgen, good evening. Welcome to 4tissimo.
Good evening.
In the early 70s, John Cleese had a surreal encounter here at the Glen Eagles Hotel in Torquay with eccentric hotel owner Donald Sinclair.
Cleese has said himself in interviews that Sinclair's bizarre behaviour provided him with the inspiration for the indomitable British classic, Fawlty Towers.
May I ask what you were expecting to see out of a Torquay hotel bedroom window? Sydney Opera House, perhaps? The hanging gardens of Babylon? Herds of wildebeest sweeping majestically?
I expect to be able to see the sea.
You can see the sea. It's over there between the land and the sky.
Written by then husband and wife team Cleese and Connie Booth, this year the programme celebrates its 40th anniversary.
This smack on here.
Over there!
I can't! I've got too much to do. Listen, don't mention the war. I mentioned it once, but I think I got away with it all right.
But what about the music of Fawlty Towers?
Oh, that price I had to pay.
Not that! I mean the theme tune.
The piece was written at the last minute by composer Dennis Wilson and was recorded on the 19th of December 1974, with the pilot shot just 4 days later.
And why is it written for string quartet?
If you think of what Fawlty would have done to look tasteful, it would be bring in a string quartet. So again, it captured that very studied, self-conscious kind of refinement and culture. People noticed that there are also certain similarities between the theme tune and Beethoven's Minuet in G, which you can hear here.
Yeah, that rocking kind of na-na-na, that chromaticism, that's a technique that a lot of composers use to give a sense of comedy. It's that chromatic wobble, that wonkiness that reeks of Fawlty Towers' demented brilliance. But who were the original players?
The music remains as fresh as the day it was put to tape, but the problem has been locating the performers. After digging through ancient recording reports, trying audio engineers and recording studios, and speaking to the widow of Dennis Wilson, we finally found 95-year-old Ken Essex. His viola playing can be heard on the Beatles recordings of Yesterday and Hello Goodbye. He is also, as far as we know, the last surviving performer on that iconic theme tune.
Did you realise at this point how great this series was going to be?
No, because we didn't know what it was, you see. The producer came in and he said, well, chaps, it's a pilot, we'll have to record it, but it's not going to get anywhere. Can you believe it? And 12 months later, we already started getting repeat checks.
Absolutely! Oh, yes, I mean, will 100 be enough? I mean, 150, 200, 160, or...
To mark the anniversary of Fawlty Towers, Torbay Quartet 4tissimo will play the theme to patrons taking afternoon tea at the Rutland Hotel, chosen because of its striking resemblance to the original.
For 30 minutes, this hotel will become Fawlty Towers. Well, this afternoon, the spirit of Fawlty Towers has risen again. 40 years on, the chaotic charm of this enduring classic is still first class. Wouldn't Basil be really, really proud?
Excuse me,
What?
could I have another scope?
Right!
Oh, she was the one, Richard.
She was. Well, it's the 40th anniversary of the first broadcast this Saturday. Richard is with us now with some more facts. Now, one of the reasons why Fawlty Towers was so successful is because apparently John Cleese was absolutely obsessive, wasn't he, about small detail.
Well, it's a fantastic story about, you know, the famous thrashing of the car. You know, that's
Oh,
the
yes. Oh, with
iconic
the branch.
scene, isn't it? He thrashes the car with the branch. Apparently, they had 3 branches lined up, and the first one wasn't funny enough. So they did a second take with another branch.
Blame the branch.
With a funnier branch.
And then it's the third branch, which is the most comedic. So that's the one that ends up being the one that we see is the funniest branch.
Well, shall we have a look? Let's have a look
Let's see the
at
funny
the
branch in
funniest branch.
action.
Here we go.
Okay.
I've laid it on the line to you time and time again. Right, well, this is it. I'm going to give you a damn good thrashing.
Definitely the right branch.
Now, he was quite full-on, wasn't he, in some of the fight scenes as well, with a saucepan, with Manuel.
I think he's quite into physical abuse, to be honest with you, because a saucepan, he hit him so hard on the head that Andrew Sachs Manuel is actually knocked out. And he also burnt Manuel in a kitchen stunt as well. Yeah, he did both of those. And Bernard Cribbins, you know, the hotel inspectors, and Bernard Cribbins, his character, isn't a hotel inspector, so he chokes him. He starts to choke on a bit of cheese. He puts his hand over his mouth, and Bernard Cribbins said that if they had one more take, that Bernard Cribbins would have actually passed out.
Really?
Yeah.
I want to work with John Cleese.
John, yeah, he's not.
That sounds great. Allegedly, John, allegedly.
You couldn't get away with it now, though, could you?
Couldn't do it now. Health and safety.
This show's obviously, because they're so popular, they have been redubbed in various different countries. And Manuel isn't always a Spanish waiter, is he? They change his nationality.
No, so when it was shown in Spain, obviously, Manuel's character is not great as the Spanish waiter in Spain. So when they dubbed it, they made him...
From Birmingham.
No, Italian, because, of course, in Italy, they like a bit of basil.
Hey, I see what you did there.
Do you see what I did? And then when they did it in Catalonia and France, they made Manuel Mexican.
Have you got a gag for that?
No.
No.
Something to do with carpets and underlay, I think, but...
Underlay. Very good.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Richard.
Oh, pleasure.
Good jokes. All right, now then, someone else has been venting their frustration this week, though as far as I know, she hasn't gone around whacking any cars with sticks.
No, now we're talking about Helen Mirren.
Yes.
And she said basically that it annoys her when she sees a man with his arm around his girlfriend because, well, look, I mean, it's like a form of ownership, in her words. So Margarita Taylor went to Leeds to find out what you think.
What do you think? I own you.
Would you put your arm over your girlfriend's shoulder ever, or do you not think that's...
I don't see a problem with that at all. I think it's absolutely fine.
Let's ask the lady herself.
I think I prefer hand-holding to arm around the shoulder. I think it's a bit more equal.
The arm around the shoulders. Eh?
You know, you can meet tonight, your boyfriend puts his arm around your shoulder, what are you thinking? You wouldn't put the arm around the shoulder?
No, it's not as comfortable when you're walking along.
I think it's a loving gesture.
Oh, absolute nonsense. It's like you're showing you love her. She's your special lady, your queen in your life.
Well, no, it don't feel right. This is, you know, I'm linking out. Oh, yeah. We've had a few glasses of wine and we're... That's different, though, isn't it?
If I'm getting attention from any other men, your arm will come round me.
Oh, yeah. Too right, it does.
Yeah. It's just cringer.
Why?
I don't know, it's just PDA, public display of affection.
You can sense a kind of vibe, whether it's like, she's mine and I don't want anyone else to look at her, or, you know, this is my girl and I'm proud to be walking down the street with her. It's a bit like ownership, like she's my possession.
No, I don't think anyway, personally.
So when you're doing that, what are you thinking when you put your arm around your lady?
Just protecting her, saying that, yeah, she's mine.
So to get more comment, we posted the question up on our Facebook page to tell us what you think. Sarah Cook says, to me, it's a sign of affection, comfort, togetherness, Lenny, love. The world would be a poorer place without hugs.
Yeah, well, Daniel Morris says, sometimes my arm gets tired, so I'll just rest it like this on my girlfriend's shoulder. Nothing to do with affection. I'm just lazy. Well, that's nice and romantic, isn't it, Daniel? Lovely. All right, then. OK, it's almost time for Lenny's performance. Get the vocal cords.
Are you feeling all right? Seriously, Lenny, are you feeling all right about this? Are you a little bit, you know, have you got any jitters? Well, listen, before we get into the blues, how about some soul music? Some soul-saving music?
I I see what you did there.
With sharp uniforms and shiny instruments, the Salvation Army are a familiar sight.
But few people know how this 150-year-old British institution was forged in a violent baptism of fire that included demonstration, hand-to-hand combat and gunfire.
The Salvation Army was founded in 1865 to be Christianity at its most muscular. Soup, soap and salvation were the order of the day, and alcohol was outlawed. It was organised along strict military lines, and in 1884, Worthing was the scene of the battle that decided its future. The local unit was based here in Prospect Place, under the leadership of a young firebrand, Captain Ada Smith. I'm meeting Major Nigel Bovey at the site of the former barracks.
The officer, Captain Ada Smith, decides that they should be going out on the streets more often. So they started processions on a Sunday afternoon.
But this felt a little too much like an invasion for some in Worthing, especially when they were marching against the evils of drink.
Locals are not too happy at the noise that the Salvation Army makes with its musical instruments, nor the attention that it receives for some of the town's troublemakers, who howl and whistle and barrack them.
But Worthing made its money from day trippers coming for a quiet day at the seaside. Salvationists were bad for business, especially with the rowdies in tow.
But local press started a campaign to say, is there nobody who will drive the Salvation Army out of town? Is there nobody who will restore us to our peaceful Sunday afternoons?
Egged on by the press, the situation escalated through the summer of 1884. The troublemakers formed their own parody of the Salvationists, the Skeleton Army. Their motto was beer, beef and bacca. The tension ratcheted up when the mob attacked the landlord of the barracks at Prospect Place, and he, in turn, opened fire.
Skirmishes between the two sides continued until August of 1884, when there came a time of reckoning.
Local historian Chris Hare has studied the tumultuous events of Wednesday the 19th of that month, when the Skeleton Army swelled with new recruits from all over the south coast.
It grows from hundreds of people on the street to Wednesday there's estimated 4,000 people.
The police arrested William Medhurst, the leader of the Skeleton Army, triggering a full-scale riot.
At that time there were only 12 full-time police constables in the town, and they're terrified. So they barricade themselves in their own police station, and the mob's outside howling and throwing bricks and stones.
Ada Smith and the other Salvationists were barricaded in their barracks too, and their superior officers had given them the means to defend themselves.
They were all issued with 6-chamber revolvers, so that if the mob actually broke in and their lives were actually threatened, they'd be able to resist using firearms.
Finally, reinforcements were brought in to help the police.
They then come out of the police station wielding these rather fearsome truncheons and just lay into the mob, smashing heads, flaying out in all directions, and that would do you a lot of damage. It's a fight that goes on for about an hour and a half.
An uneasy truce prevailed and the battle for Worthing was over, but it would take nearly a decade for real peace between the community and the Sally Volunteers to be established.
Oh, lovely. Thank you very much, Carrie. And now, a different type of sound live on the piazza.
Thank you.
We love a bit of live music on
Don't
the
we
One
just?
Show. And Lenny, you're about to sing New Millennium Blues.
That's right.
This is the title of the album and also this track here. So what's the story behind this song?
It's a sort of homage to... Marvin Gaye did a record over 30 years ago called Inner City Blues, about everything he thought was wrong with what's going on in the world today. And I wanted to do an homage to that and write an update of things that amuse, bemuse and confuse me about the 21st century.
OK.
So that's what it's about.
Well, we will listen carefully. Lenny, you go up to the mic, my friend.
Good luck, Lenny.
That's it for tonight. Tomorrow we're going to be joined by Bradley Walsh.
Yes, we leave you now with Lenny and his Blackacre Road Band performing New Millennium Blues. Had a great evening.
Bye-bye.
Working, don't bother me, I'm working. Folks frightened of fracking.
Journalist caught hacking. Lord, here's my confession. Bankruptcy, repossession. Celebrities, insects. Movie stars and car wrecks. 21st century. I'm messed up and confused. Now you got me singing this new millennium blues. Ha! New millennium blues. Obesity's on the increase. Broke as hell increase. Hurricanes and earthquakes. Ministers making mistakes. Socialites in ball gowns. Stop and search downtown. Virtual's better than real life. Gonna buy myself a blow-up wife. 21st century. I'm messed up and confused. Now you got me singing this new millennium blues. Ha! New millennium blues. Come on, people. I don't know what this world is coming to. Oh, I say it again. You've been had, you've been took, hoodwinked, bamboozled. Yeah. Yeah. Social media races, weirdos in high places. Boycott down on the high street. Tax breaks for the elite. Food bank just by the bus stop. Stick up down by the IHOP. TV chef on the front page. Gunshots and road rage. 21st century. I'm messed up and confused. Now you got me saying this new millennium blues. New millennium blues. Thank you.